When you look at the life of someone who is struggling, whether it's a man sleeping on the cold streets or a woman trapped in a job she despises, it's easy to assume that what you see is all there is and all there ever will be. But the truth is, the present moment is just a snapshot in time, not the full movie. The reality you see today is nothing more than the sum of old decisions, old habits, old beliefs, and those can all be rewritten. The homeless man sitting in the corner might seem like he's stuck forever, but life doesn't operate on permanence. It operates on change, and that change can happen in the blink of an eye if the right awareness takes root. The problem is not the situation itself. It's the belief that the situation defines you. Many people wear their current circumstances like a permanent identity. If they're broke, they call themselves poor. If they're lonely, they say they are unlovable. If they're rejected, they believe they are not worthy. But that's like reading the first chapter of a book and assuming you know the ending. The chapter you're in today is just one part of your story. It doesn't carry the authority to dictate what comes next, unless you hand over that power. When you truly understand this, you stop letting the outside control the inside. You stop saying, "This is who I am," and start saying, "This is where I am, but not where I'll stay." Think about the rich girl in this story. She saw the homeless man not for what he appeared to be, but for what he could be. She understood something most people never take time to realize: circumstances are like seasons. They come and go. A harsh winter does not mean there won't be spring. And yet, so many people freeze themselves in place because they've convinced themselves that winter is eternal. That belief kills more dreams than failure ever will. The shift begins when you realize that the present moment is only evidence of your past thinking. The money in your bank account, the job you hold, the clothes you wear, the relationships you have, they are the result of patterns that were set in motion days, months, even years ago. But here's the good news: your future is being built in your mind right now. The thoughts you entertain today, the decisions you make, the people you connect with, the risks you take, these are laying the bricks of tomorrow's reality. The homeless man's reality could change with a single decision. It might be deciding to ask for help without shame. It might be choosing to believe that he is worth more than the street corner he sleeps on. It might be saying yes to an opportunity he would have ignored before. And for the rich girl, her reality could change too. Maybe her act of kindness opens her heart in a way that money never did. Maybe she realizes that the truest form of wealth isn't in her bank account, but in the difference she can make in someone's life. Both of their futures pivot the moment they choose a thought that lifts instead of a thought that limits. If you accept the idea that the present is just a reflection of the past, you also accept that it is not set in stone. A mirror can only reflect what's in front of it. Change the object, and the reflection changes instantly. That's how life works. Change your self-image, change the way you think, and the outer world eventually has no choice but to catch up. This isn't wishful thinking. It's the law of cause and effect at work. You are the cause. Your outer life is the effect. The biggest tragedy is when people forget they are the author of their own story. They let the pen be held by fear, by doubt, by old wounds, by other people's opinions. They read the same chapter every day until it feels like their entire book. But the pages are blank beyond this moment. You have the right to write something new at any time. And sometimes, it takes just one act of kindness from another person to remind you of that truth. The rich girl buying food, clothes, or even shelter for the homeless man might look like a small gesture, but, to him, it's a signal from the universe saying, your story isn't over. The difference between people who change their lives and people who stay stuck is not luck. It's recognition. It's the moment they recognize that what they see right now is not all there is. That recognition opens the door for possibility, and possibility invites action. Once you believe that tomorrow can be better, you start acting in ways that make it so. And when you act in alignment with the life you want, the life you have begins to transform. The present moment is not your prison. It's your starting point. The homeless man's reality is one scene in his movie, not the credits rolling. The rich girl's life of wealth is one chapter in hers, but both of them have the same truth to embrace. Where you are right now is nothing compared to where you can be when you decide that your present does not dictate your future. Gratitude is more than simply saying, "Thank you." It is a state of mind that shifts how you see yourself, others, and the world around you. It's the lens that changes the picture. Most people only feel gratitude when something good happens, a gift, a promotion, a compliment. But the kind of gratitude that transforms lives is deeper. It's the gratitude that sees value even in moments of struggle. It's the kind that allows you to look at what you have and realize it's already more than enough to begin building the life you want. In the story of the rich girl and the homeless man, gratitude plays a quiet but powerful role. The rich girl could have easily walked past the man, thinking only of herself, her schedule, or her own problems. She could have seen him as an inconvenience, a reminder of something unpleasant in the world. But instead, she saw an opportunity to give. Why? Because somewhere inside her, she recognized the blessings in her own life. She was aware of her ability to help. Gratitude doesn't always announce itself with grand words. It often shows up in action. When you are truly grateful, you become aware of your resources, not in a way that makes you hoard them, but in a way that makes you want to share them. For the homeless man, gratitude might seem like the last thing on his mind. When you're struggling to find food or shelter, when each day feels like a battle for survival, the natural response is frustration, sadness, or even anger. But gratitude, even in a small dose, can begin to shift the energy of a situation. It can turn despair into a flicker of hope. Imagine him sitting on the street, receiving not just money or food from the rich girl, but eye contact, a smile, and respect. That moment alone could remind him that he's still human in a world that often overlooks him. That is the seed of gratitude. The recognition that someone saw him, acknowledged him, and treated him as worthy. Gratitude transforms perspective because it changes the way we interpret events. Without gratitude, you see only lack. You see what's missing, what's wrong, what's unfair. With gratitude, you start noticing what's available, what's right, and what's possible. The rich girl didn't have to buy him a home or solve every problem in his life. But in choosing to help him in the way she could, she gave him something far more important than just material aid. She gave him a reminder that there are still good people in the world. That's the magic of gratitude, it ripples outward. One person's gratitude for their blessings leads them to act in kindness, which sparks gratitude in someone else. And the cycle continues. Most people underestimate how much their state of mind influences their reality. When you focus on what's missing, you unconsciously close yourself off to opportunities and relationships. You build walls because you believe you have nothing to give or nothing worth receiving. Gratitude breaks down those walls. It says, "Look again. There's something here for you." The rich girl's gratitude for her own life allowed her to connect with the man without judgment. She didn't see him as less than her, she saw him as another human being deserving of care. And because she approached him with that mindset, the interaction became more than a simple transaction. It became a human connection. There's also a hidden strength in gratitude. It has the power to dissolve negative feelings before they take root. Resentment, envy, bitterness, they all feed on comparison and scarcity. When you're truly grateful, those emotions lose their grip. The rich girl could have compared herself to people even wealthier than her, feeling as though she still lacked something. She could have walked through life dissatisfied despite her abundance. But gratitude anchored her in the reality that she already had more than enough to make a difference. From that place of abundance, generosity flows naturally, For the homeless man, practicing gratitude might mean acknowledging small victories. A meal for the day, a conversation with a stranger, even the simple fact of being alive to try again tomorrow. Some might dismiss this as unrealistic in hardship, but the truth is, gratitude doesn't deny the difficulty. It simply shifts the focus to what can still be appreciated. And that shift in focus can be the very thing that opens the door to better circumstances. A mind rooted in gratitude is more creative, more resilient, and more open to possibilities than a mind consumed by anger or despair. Gratitude also creates connection in ways that logic cannot. The rich girl and the homeless man came from completely different worlds, yet in that moment, gratitude was the bridge between them. She felt grateful to be able to give. He felt grateful to be acknowledged and helped. That shared experience created a kind of equality between them. Two people seeing each other with respect, rather than through the lens of status. This is why gratitude is so transformative. It dissolves the illusion of separation and reminds us that at our core, we are all the same. When gratitude becomes your default way of seeing the world, you stop living in reaction to circumstances and start living in alignment with possibility. The rich girl didn't help the man because she pitied him. She helped because she understood that giving was a privilege. She saw her ability to help as a gift in itself. That awareness is what made her act in kindness without hesitation. And for the homeless man, even in his hardship, recognizing that someone cared enough to stop could ignite a spark inside him. A spark that says, maybe I am worth more than this. Maybe there's still hope. Most people move through life carrying a mental checklist of who belongs where. We decide, often without realizing it, who is successful, who is trustworthy, who is worth our time, based on surface details, clothing, job titles, appearance, where someone lives. It's a quick judgment our minds make to simplify the world, but it robs us of the deeper truths about people. Replacing judgment with curiosity means you step outside that automatic labeling and open yourself to seeing the full human being in front of you. It's a shift from, I know who you are, to, I wonder what your story is. And in that shift, an entirely new world of understanding unfolds. The rich girl in the story had every reason, by society's standards, to walk past the homeless man without a second thought. She could have told herself the usual narratives. He probably made bad choices. He's dangerous. Someone else will help him. Those judgments would have kept her comfortable in her bubble, never having to face the discomfort of engaging with a stranger whose life looked nothing like hers. But instead, she let curiosity guide her. She might have asked herself, what happened in his life to bring him here? Or, what dreams did he once have? This kind of questioning removes the barrier between us and them and replaces it with a bridge. Curiosity invites connection because it forces you to slow down and pay attention. When you're curious, you notice details that judgment would have filtered out. The tone of someone's voice, the way they choose their words, the emotion behind their eyes. These are the clues to their real story. If the rich girl had led with judgment, she would have only seen an unshaven man in worn clothes. But by approaching him with curiosity, she might have seen a man who once had a career, a family, a home. A man whose life had been shaped by circumstances more complex than a single label could ever explain. One of the most damaging effects of judgment is that it freezes people in place. When we judge someone, we define them by a single moment or aspect of their life, as if it's the whole truth. He's homeless becomes a complete identity in our minds, overshadowing every other part of who they are. But human beings are multi-layered. They have histories, talents, and untold stories that can't be seen at first glance. Curiosity, on the other hand, allows for the possibility that there's more to learn. It leaves room for surprise. It opens the door to discovering that the person you thought you understood is far more complex than you imagined. This mindset doesn't just benefit the person being seen, it transforms the one doing the seeing. For the rich girl, leading with curiosity instead of judgment would not only deepen her empathy, but also enrich her own perspective on life. She might learn that adversity can happen to anyone, that strength can exist in places you'd least expect, or that kindness can create turning points in another person's journey. Every story we take time to understand expands our world and challenges the narrow narratives we've unconsciously built. Curiosity also has the power to dissolve fear. Much of the fear we feel toward others comes from the unknown. When someone's life or behavior is unfamiliar to us, we often fill in the gaps with assumptions, and those assumptions are rarely kind. But when we ask genuine questions and listen to the answers, we replace fear with understanding. In the case of the homeless man, curiosity could reveal that he is not dangerous, not lazy, not what stereotypes suggest, but simply someone who encountered a series of difficult circumstances. That understanding could change not only how the rich girl sees him, but also how she sees humanity as a whole. It's worth noting that curiosity requires humility. You have to admit that you don't have all the answers about someone just by looking at them. This can be uncomfortable for people who like the certainty of quick judgments. But certainty is often an illusion when it comes to understanding human lives. True insight comes from listening, observing, and being willing to be wrong about your first impression. The rich girl's willingness to engage with the homeless man from a place of curiosity, rather than judgment, could lead to a moment of genuine connection. Something that both of them might remember for the rest of their lives. Judgment narrows the world, curiosity expands it. When you judge, you close doors before they even have a chance to open. When you're curious, you allow life to surprise you. You give yourself the chance to meet extraordinary people in unexpected places, to hear stories that change how you see the world, and to grow in ways that judgment would have made impossible. The homeless man's story, once heard, might inspire the rich girl to think differently about her own blessings, her own challenges, and her own purpose in life. Replacing judgment with curiosity is not about ignoring differences. It's about seeking to understand them. It's about recognizing that the distance between two lives, one of wealth and one of poverty, is not as great as it seems when you listen to the story in between. It's about realizing that every person you meet has chapters in their life you haven't read yet, and those chapters might contain lessons you didn't know you needed. By staying curious, the rich girl could discover not just who the homeless man is, but also more about who she is, and who she has the potential to become. Negative feelings are often seen as obstacles. Heavy weights that drag you down, keep you stuck, and cloud your thinking. Most people try to avoid them, push them away, or pretend they aren't there. But the truth is, negative emotions are not enemies, they are messages. They are signals from within, pointing to areas of your life that need attention, healing, or change. The difference between someone who stays trapped in negativity and someone who grows from it is not the absence of these feelings, but the way they respond to them. When you learn to harness them as fuel, they can become one of your greatest sources of strength and transformation. Imagine the homeless man in this story. He may feel shame about his situation, anger at the circumstances that led him there, frustration at being overlooked, or hopelessness about the future. These feelings are raw and uncomfortable, but they are also energy. Anger, for example, can be a powerful motivator when directed toward a positive outcome. It can fuel the determination to change a situation, to fight for something better, to refuse to accept defeat. Sadness can deepen empathy, helping someone connect more authentically with others. Even fear, when understood, can sharpen awareness and push a person to prepare, adapt, and grow. The rich girl may also have her own negative emotions. She could feel guilt about having so much when others have so little, or perhaps a lingering emptiness despite her wealth. These feelings, too, can be catalysts. Guilt can inspire generosity. Emptiness can push someone to seek deeper meaning in life. The key is to acknowledge these emotions instead of burying them. Then ask, what is this trying to teach me? Where can I direct this energy so it creates something good? Negative emotions carry intensity. That intensity, when ignored, can turn destructive, leading to bitterness, resentment, or self-pity. But when you consciously channel it, it becomes power. Think of a storm uncontrolled. It can cause damage. Harnessed, it can generate energy. The homeless man's frustration could drive him to seek resources, accept help, or find new ways to rebuild his life. The rich girl's discomfort at witnessing poverty could push her to take real action, not just for one person, but for many others in similar situations. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking they have to get rid of negative feelings before they can move forward. This mindset often leads to stagnation because you wait for a perfect emotional state that never comes. The truth is, you can act while feeling fear. You can take steps forward while feeling uncertainty, and you can build something new while still carrying pain from the past. In fact, some of the most remarkable achievements in history were born from people working through their darkest emotions. When you harness negative emotions, you stop seeing them as proof of weakness and start seeing them as tools for growth. Every time the homeless man feels the sting of being overlooked, he could use that pain to strengthen his resolve to be seen, to be heard, to reclaim his dignity. Every time the rich girl feels discomfort about the inequality she witnesses, she could channel that feeling into creating opportunities for others, using her resources to bridge gaps that society has left wide open. The negative emotion becomes the spark that lights the fire of positive action. It's important to understand that harnessing negative feelings doesn't mean living in them. It means transforming them. This transformation begins with awareness. You have to recognize what you're feeling and name it without judgment. Then, instead of asking, "How do I get rid of this?" you ask, "How can I use this?" That single shift changes the entire relationship you have with your emotions. Another powerful aspect of this process is that negative feelings often reveal what you truly value. Anger shows you where your boundaries have been crossed. Sadness shows you what matters deeply to you. Frustration shows you where you feel limited. These emotions point directly to the areas in your life that need attention and alignment. For the homeless man, the pain of his situation could reveal a deep value for stability, dignity, and purpose. For the rich girl, the discomfort she feels when seeing someone in hardship might reveal her deep value for fairness, compassion, and contribution. Once you know what matters to you, you can direct your energy toward creating more of it. Harnessing negative emotions also builds resilience. Every time you face a difficult feeling and choose to turn it into action, you train yourself to respond rather than react. You develop the inner strength to face discomfort without being consumed by it. Over time, you become less afraid of difficult emotions because you've experienced firsthand that they can be transformed into something valuable. In the connection between the rich girl and the homeless man, both could use their negative emotions as a turning point. His pain could become determination, her discomfort could become a mission. This shared transformation, even if unspoken, could create a moment of silent understanding between them. A recognition that while they come from different worlds, they both have the ability to turn hardship into a driving force for change.